Welkom weer by Farmboek. Ons tweede video van hierdie reeks oor die mieliegoed. Saadgroottes. Wat is jou invloed van dit op jou omgewingsfaktore ensovoorts? Kom ons luister vir Bob Nielsen.
Let's say a light green color. It's a healthy color, but it's sort of light green.
So in other words, it depends, it's like a child, depends on the mother's milk.
Yes.
And maybe the size of the seed.
Oh, I knew someone would go there. I knew that. It's a good question though. Whether large round seed might provide more of the mother's milk than a small flat. It's a very good question. And what our answer is that 9 times out of 10, seed size has little effect on that young plant, unless the young plant is under very severe stress. And when I say stress, I'm really talking about photosynthetic stress. Stress that's preventing the plant from photosynthesizing, and so it can't create its own carbohydrates. Then, if it's young, it may rely on that seed longer, not necessarily more, but more days. Then you can imagine under really serious stress, where it is struggling to photosynthesize. Under that severest of stresses, that large round might be beneficial. But I'm also saying that, look, in my condition, my growing environments, 9 times out of 10 it doesn't matter. But that 1 time out of 10, yes, we do see the large rounds or large flats even can be beneficial over smaller. But because it's so infrequent, I don't worry too much about the size of seed that I plant. Now, having said that, if I have a lot of land to plant, and on the week that I want to start planting, it's a little cold, and I'm not too sure if I want to start planting, but I'm anxious, so I'm going to start planting, and I know it's a little cold, and the forecast is a little cold. If I have in the barn or the shed, if I have a range of bags of seed, some of them are large seeds, some of them are small, I will, you understand the phrase hedge your bets? I'll sort of try to manage my risk by beginning to plant with the large rounds, just in case that's the year that it's going to be important. And then I'll save the smaller seed for maybe a week down the road when I am finishing planting, and maybe it's warmer soil, so there's less risk involved with that. Does that make sense? Yeah. I mean, understanding that 9 times out of 10 it won't matter, but if I have that range in the bag, then yeah, I'll hedge my bets.
Yeah, but you say no, 1 time out of 10 it will matter.
I'm sorry?
1 time out of 10 it will matter.
Yes.
How much will it matter?
Oh, how much? So the question is that 1 time out of 10 where it matters, how much does it matter? That's a really hard one to answer, because you can imagine it's a whole range of importance.
You know what categories?
Oh, it could cause you to replant.
Yeah.
It could be that severe. All right, so let me put it in this perspective. Well, let me ask this question first. Is seedling blight a potential problem? Okay. So, when these plants are young, and pretty much all they got is this, and so they're developing very slowly because it's cold in particular, so they're relying on the kernel longer, and the kernel's starting to give up, and by the time that small kernel gives up, the permanent roots are not yet ready to really take off, and so it's taking a long time to get the permanent roots out until these become well established. Before that point in time, the young seedling is vulnerable to seedling blight that attacks this mesocotyl or the seed. And so if that large seed allows it to survive longer, or maybe even stronger, so that it gets better developed before the seedling blight occurs, then you escape that problem. Or in reverse, if you have a really small seed and it's struggling, and then seedling blight comes in before these permanent roots are growing, you can literally lose plants and ultimately force you into a replant situation. it can be that bad. But again, we're talking 1 time out of 10. And so I ask, are you going to be paranoid about avoiding small seed? I'd say no.
So daar sê 'n bietjie oor omgewingsfaktore, hoe jou saadgrootte en so dit beïnvloed. Ons hou dan by saadgrootte en wat is jou groeikragtigheid en die invloed wat jou saadgrootte op jou groeikragtigheid en so het. Dit is ons volgende video. Kyk uit vir hom op ons Facebook bladsy. Sien julle binnekort weer. Cheers.